Game phases. A game of chess usually moves through 3 distinct phases, these being the opening, the middle game, and the end game. Each of these phases have different strategic concerns and usually must be approached in their own distinct manner. Note that there is no well-defined way to actually say absolutely when you have transitioned from one phase to another, though there are a few basic guidelines that are usually used. It should also be noted that not all games go through all 3 phases, specifically when a checkmate occurs early in a game. So let's start with the opening. The opening primarily consists of the first 10 to 20 moves of the game. It is a segment of the game where you are setting up the board for the entire conflict and the time you should pay the strictest attention to the development of your overall pawn structure. There are 3 main goals in the opening. That is to control the center of the board, develop your minor pieces, and castle. The basic rules of the opening are discussed in greater details later in Chess Coach. An opening is usually considered over when attacks and exchanges begin to occur. Now let's discuss the middle game. The middle game is actually defined as the time during the game when the greatest tactical play, attacks, and exchanges take place. It is usually the phase of the game where the players attempt to take away the most force from their opponent as possible, in an attempt to get a decisive advantage. This relates to the chess element of force, and will be discussed in the section on the 4 chess elements. Finally, the end game. Again, as at the end of the opening, the transition point between the middle game and the end game is often rather blurry. It is usually best defined as a time during the game when the majority of each army's forces have been removed from the board, either by the gain of an advantage, through exchanges, or through swapping. Most often when this occurs, the king is activated and joins in the actual battle. This usually signals the endgame has been entered. The primary goal for most players during an endgame is to create a passed pawn and to promote, thereby overwhelming the opponent with superior force. Do not think, however, that due to the fact that the endgame usually has far less pieces that it is easy. Nothing could be further from the truth. Endgames can be extremely complex. There are many books and exercises for each of the 3 phases of the game, and many will be, or have been, presented here in Chess Coach.